I had to cover an extra shift I didn't want. The ranger assigned to the night patrol had fallen sick, and someone needed to check the secondary trails of Alder Ridge Park before closing the day. It was a simple route, 4 kilometers of trail, 1 overlook, an old observation shack, and back. That night was cold, the kind of dry cold that leaves the forest silent. The wind barely moved the high canopies, and there were no signs of small wildlife. No night birds, no crickets. That absence already unsettled me, but it wasn't the first time I'd experienced it. I walked to the overlook without seeing anything unusual. Checked the railings, the wooden base, the signage. Everything normal. From there, I had to continue to the shack, an old structure we still use for monitoring fires in summer. The trail narrowed ahead, enclosed between straight, tall cedars. That's where I heard the first sound. Not footsteps, not growls, just a faint shift of branches, low and deep, as if something large were moving through the foliage without trying too hard to hide. I thought it could be a bear. They move heavily and leave an obvious trace, so I turned on my flashlight and advanced carefully, making deliberate noise with my boots to avoid surprising any animal. The second sound was different. Something knocked against a root or a rock, not aggressively, but like someone stepping around an obstacle. Intentional, steady, not clumsy. I aimed the flashlight toward the slope. At first, I saw nothing, just trunks and shadow. I stayed still, breathing slowly. Then I noticed it. A large figure standing among the trees. I didn't see it fully. Only the upper half showed between 2 cedars. It was tall, taller than any person. Not absurdly so, but enough to make it clear it wasn't a lost hiker, and it wasn't a bear standing upright either. The posture was different, more stable, more natural. I didn't move. The figure didn't move. It made no gestures and no sound. It simply stood there, watching me, or at least facing me, with a stillness that felt deliberate. My flashlight couldn't illuminate any real details, and I chose not to get closer to discover them. I had the strong impression it was standing at a perfectly measured distance, close enough to see me, far enough not to feel threatened. I took a deep breath and spoke softly, the way we do around large animals. "Just a patrol. I'm leaving." I didn't know if it understood the tone, but it worked. The figure stepped back once, just a subtle shift, and then turned toward the forest interior, disappearing between the trunks without running or breaking anything. I didn't try to follow it. I simply continued to the shack, wrote down possible encounter with large fauna, and returned to the ranger station without mentioning anything else. Sometimes the forest doesn't need to reveal itself to make clear what it holds. That night, I understood that perfectly.
It had nothing to do with wildlife or patrol routes. I was there because of a bridge. The county hired me as a structural engineer to assess the condition of the old bridge on the northern corridor, a wooden span over a narrow creek that had been closed to the public for months due to deterioration. It was a routine inspection. Check beams, measure moisture, record deformations. Nothing more. I arrived in the mid-afternoon with a truck full of tools and the original blueprints. The access point was empty. The air had that dense forest smell that lingers after several days of rain. I walked the last 100 meters because the path was muddy and I didn't want to get the vehicle stuck. As soon as I stepped onto the structure, I heard something that didn't belong there. A deep, heavy thud, like wood snapping. I thought a beam had failed. I crouched to inspect, but there were no visible fractures. The sound came again, this time not beneath my feet, somewhere in the forest, about 30 meters from the bridge. It wasn't a tree falling, it was too controlled. I kept taking notes, though my ears stayed alert. The third time I heard it, I recognized it more clearly. It wasn't wood breaking by accident. Something was striking a trunk with force, like a large animal using it to make noise. I looked toward the sound, and then I saw it. Not a fleeting silhouette, not movement between branches. I saw the entire creature. It stood half upright beside a thick trunk, striking it with an open hand. Even from a distance, its size was staggering, over 8 feet tall, broad-bodied, with massive shoulders and dark hair that wasn't uniform, but mottled, with lighter patches and tangled strands from the humidity. Its legs were thick and muscular, and its torso had a density no costumed human could fake. The face unsettled me the most. It wasn't an unknown animal nor a typical ape, something in between but anatomically coherent. A wide nose, thick lips, deep dark eyes, and a heavy brow ridge that gave it a focused expression. It was communicating something. The trunk pounding wasn't random. When it noticed me, it stopped. It turned slowly and straightened fully. The bridge wasn't long, but watching its silhouette emerge through the tree line made me feel like I was standing in front of a prehistoric mammal. Its arms were longer than those of a tall human, but not absurdly so, built for climbing, moving weight, and pushing through vegetation. I didn't move. Running could trigger a defensive reaction. The creature let out a short sound, a strong, sharp huff, more like a large deer than a primate. It wasn't an attack, it was a territorial warning. I stepped back once, then again. It tilted its head as if judging my distance. Then it walked toward the forest, not fleeing, just maintaining steady vigilance, making it clear the area near the bridge was under its control. Only when it disappeared did my legs finally start shaking. I never finished that inspection.
The closure of Red Hollow Campground wasn't in any official protocol, but we all knew why. In the last 10 days, 3 different groups had reported seeing something huge moving near their tents. Management said bears to calm visitors, but among rangers, no one used that word. They said the thing, or without saying it, everyone thought the same, Sasquatch. I was assigned to check the area after the storm. Trees were down, trails blocked, and there was a chance some careless hiker had gotten trapped. I went alone, carrying a radio that lost signal every 20 steps and a backpack with just the basics. The ground was soaked, mud layered over everything, erasing most tracks except one. Off the trail, near the old bridge, I found large footprints, not absurdly huge, but wide enough to rule out a bear or a human. They were deep, recent, and sharply defined, the kind that sends a cold rush down your back. Visible toes, a clear heel, not the vague shape someone could misinterpret. A bare, massive foot pressed into the clay. I photographed them. I knew following the trail wasn't a good idea, but it was also my job. The prints led into the old platform area, where the trees grew higher and the light barely reached the ground. As I moved forward, something felt wrong. Several branches had been snapped off at about 8 feet high, as if something large had pushed through. No deer did that, no bear either. I reached platform 6 and stopped. There was a strong animal smell, wet hair mixed with churned soil. I checked the surroundings with my flashlight, though there was still some daylight left. Then I heard the first sound, a short, sharp crack, like a log splitting cleanly in half.
I froze. The second crack was louder and came from behind the platform. It wasn't an attack, it was a warning sound. Many large animals do it when they detect an unfamiliar presence in their territory. I crouched slowly and stepped back, careful not to run. Just then, the radio hissed as if someone had pressed the button, pure static. The noise came again, now paired with something else. Footsteps. Heavy, rhythmic steps circling the area, not moving toward me, but around me, as if the creature were measuring my distance. The light dimmed a little more. About 40 meters away, between the trunks, I saw movement. Not a shape, not a clear silhouette, just a dark mass moving diagonally with a balance no upright bear could maintain. The arms were too long, the movement too controlled and quiet. I didn't run. Running might trigger a chase. I backed up toward the main trail. The cracks stopped, the footsteps too. Still, as I walked away, I felt something unmistakable. It wasn't following me. It was escorting me out of its territory.
I received the alert at 06:12 in the morning while I was still filing minor fire reports. The message was brief. Anomalous movement detected on camera N14. Verify. It wasn't the first time this happened. The park's northern sector had trail cameras set up to monitor cougars and bears. Sometimes they caught branches swaying, shadows, or illegal hunters. But that morning, when I opened the image on the screen, I knew it wasn't any of those cases. The photo showed a dark body crossing between the trees, only half visible. The strange part wasn't its size, but its posture. It wasn't a bear walking upright, nor a person in dark clothing. The figure moved with its arms swinging in a very distinct, almost pendular way. I didn't say anything. I just grabbed the truck and headed to the area. The access road was muddy from the previous night's rain. I turned off the engine half a kilometer before reaching the site to avoid disturbing wildlife and continued on foot. The air was cold and smelled of damp resin. When I reached camera N14, I examined the surroundings. I didn't find trash, human footprints, campfire remains, or anything suggesting intruders. But there was something else. About 10 meters away on the soft ground, several large, deep impressions, too heavy to be from a human. They were bare footprints. I crouched down to examine them. The heel was firmly pressed in, and the toes were spread, as if adapted to gain traction on unstable terrain. They weren't rounded like a bear's. It was a foot, a massive foot. I followed the trail carefully. The prints weren't erratic, they followed a straight, purposeful line, almost silent. As I climbed the slope, I noticed young trees bent to one side, not broken, just pushed forcefully. It was as if something large had moved between them without stopping. I froze when I heard a deep exhale. Not a growl, not a roar. A slow, heavy exhalation like that of a large animal detecting an unfamiliar scent. I stood completely still. The breeze shifted toward me, and I knew the creature had caught my scent. Several seconds passed without a sound. I thought it had left, until the forest changed its rhythm. I didn't see it at first. I sensed it by the synchronized movement of leaves and branches, as if something massive were descending the slope with near-silent precision. It was a calculated, territorial movement. Nothing about it felt reckless or aggressive. Only when it was about 40 meters away did I finally distinguish it. A tall, muscular figure covered in dark hair, moving with stability no human in a suit could replicate. It didn't walk in a zigzag like an upright bear. It moved with purpose, control, and perfect balance. It didn't approach me. It skirted along the slope, never losing sight of me, but never closing the distance. I understood it wasn't trying to attack. It just wanted to make sure I didn't keep following the trail. I waited until it disappeared among the trees, then walked back to the truck without looking back.